Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my off-brand YouTube channel. Or if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Sasha, not Sasha, Sasha, hi. So today's video is going to be about how I like to be thrifty when I travel. So for those of you that don't know, I went to Colorado this last summer. I went with my sister and two other girls, so there's 4 of us total. We went to Colorado for a week. We went for 7 days. It ended up being a very affordable trip. So I'm just gonna share some of the things I like to do when I travel to minimize costs and make traveling and trips more affordable. For reference, we went from Superior, Wisconsin or Duluth, Minnesota. They're right next to each other. We went from that area down to Colorado. We camped just outside of Jefferson, Colorado. I think it was like a 16-hour-ish drive. The trip total cost me under $400. That's how much I paid. We made sure to split everything evenly, so I think we all paid similar amounts. I wrote down like all my costs and kept track of everything. Total for me, the entire trip cost $356.66. I was pretty proud of that. That was a cheap vacation and Colorado is beautiful. Anyway, I have 10 ways to save money if you're going to travel. Let's get into it! So number 1 way to save money when you travel would be to camp instead of staying in a hotel or an Airbnb. Now, I personally love to camp. I think it's super fun. This is not an issue for me unless it's like super cold or super hot, but if you can camp instead of staying in a hotel or Airbnb, the cost is going to be significantly cheaper. So for our Colorado trip, we stayed at one main campsite for 3 or 4 nights. Like I said, this was back in July. It's a little fuzzy, but I wrote down all my costs, so I have a record because I have OCD. So our main campsite only cost me $19.66. Now the total price would have been 4 times that, but we had 4 people, so we divided it into that. So for the entire trip, for like lodging, that is obviously so much cheaper than staying in a hotel or an Airbnb. Camp. I know not everybody likes to camp. If you had like a little pickup camper, little RV or something like that, that would work too. We camped and we tented it. Usually tenting sites cost less than a camper site. Also, when you're talking about camping instead of staying at a hotel or an Airbnb, you might be wondering, Sasha, how did you take a shower? The answer is actually really simple. In Colorado, we went whitewater rafting one day and they had showers there. So we paid for whitewater rafting, went whitewater rafting, and you're allowed to use a shower. And the other time we showered, I personally paid $5 to take a shower at an Anytime Fitness, so that was cheap. And I think I only took 2 showers the entire trip. When Sarah and I went to Tucson, what we did, we ended up going to Tucson for like 10 or 11 days. We bought a week pass at an Anytime Fitness, and so for me, I think it was $25 for the entire week. I ended up showering like almost every day that we were in Tucson and work out. So I would work out and then go shower. So for $25 plus the camping fee, it is still so much cheaper than a hotel. What you could also do if you camp near a lake and it's warm enough, you could just kind of shower in the lake for a week. Some people might think that's gross. Moving on to number 2, what I have done for both trips, instead of flying, we got the smallest rental car possible and we drove. From our location in Minnesota all the way down to Tucson. That was like a 27-hour drive, so that was kind of miserable, but you know, we made it through. Now when we went to Colorado, we also got the smallest rental car that you could, and we split it between 4 people, so it was a squeeze to get all our camping stuff and our bags into the car. It was a little tiny Toyota Corolla. It was a squeeze. We saved a lot of money doing that instead of buying plane tickets. The negative of driving is that obviously it takes more time than if you were to have a flight, but if you're looking to save money, road tripping would be an option. Number 3, I've kind of already explained this. If you get multiple people to go, it's going to be a lot cheaper for your campsite, the rental car fee, and the gas. When I went to Colorado, it was cheaper trip than when we went to Tucson, because in Colorado we had 4 people to split gas, campsites, rental car fee instead of 2 people. Okay, number 4, if you are road tripping and camping, would be to try to find free campsites. Now, Sarah and I didn't do this when we went to Tucson, but when we went to Colorado, Sarah's friend Mara got an app and it's called Boondocking. It just shows you free campsites. We ended up spending our very first night camping at a free campsite, and then our very last night camping on our way back, we ended up just setting up the tent for a few hours at a rest stop, which was not meant for tents or anything like that, but we kind of got desperate and needed somewhere to sleep for a little bit, but we didn't pay for a campsite for 2 of our nights. Our first campsite Mara found through Boondocking, and it was like a legit little campground. Now, it wasn't fancy, it was right on the side of the road, so when a car drove by, it was really loud. They actually had toilets and stuff, but the sites weren't very private, and also there were some weirdos, so we were whipping out the taser and making sure everybody knew we had a taser so nobody was trying to attack us. We made it out alright. Now, if you're going to use Boondocking, you have to be careful and read about the campsite, because she had found one, I remember, and she was like, oh, it's in this location, and we were thinking about going to it, but then she read more about it and it ended up being just a Walmart parking lot, so we obviously didn't want to set up a tent in a Walmart parking lot. So just make sure if you're using like the Boondocking app that you read about the site before you're like, oh, here's a site, let's just go to it, because it might not be exactly what you expect. Okay, number 5, especially if you're camping, it's probably a lot easier to do this than if you're staying in a hotel where you don't have access to a kitchen or something. Grocery shop and make your food instead of eating out. I think everybody knows that cooking your own food costs way less than eating out. When we were in Colorado, we only grocery shopped. We made our dinner over the fire every night, and I don't think we ended up going out to eat for a meal. Literally one time on the road, we ended up stopping at gas stations for some snacks and stuff. Also, when it comes to food, I know sometimes when you travel, part of the travel experience is eating out, trying different food, different cuisine, and that's really fun, and I really love food. If you have the money, go out and eat and experience some new food. My family does that a lot when we go on family trips. When we went to New Orleans, we all tried oysters for the first time. They were delicious, and we ate a lot of seafood and Cajun seafood because we don't have that kind of food up in the Midwest. It was delicious, and that totally adds to the experience of traveling. I'm not telling you not to ever go out to eat, but if you are going on a trip and you're trying to be really thrifty, just grocery shop instead of eating out, and that will save you a lot of money. Number 6 is a rule that I have in place for myself over the last couple years. That is not to buy any souvenirs while I am traveling. Now, I used to, when I would go on trips, I would want to get like a souvenir, like a little shot glass or a keychain or something like that. Now, in this day and age, I just think like taking pictures is a great way to have memories. Taking pictures on your phone or your camera is totally free, and now every time I travel, I make like a little vlog of it. So instead of having souvenirs for this memory or whatever, I have a video. I found that souvenirs are way overpriced for what they are, like a t-shirt or a hoodie, and also like if you get like a shot glass or something like that, I noticed that I would buy a souvenir, I wouldn't end up actually really using it, so it was just kind of a waste of money. If you're someone who really likes to buy souvenirs, do your thing, buy your souvenirs, but if you're looking to be more cost efficient and save money when you're traveling, don't buy any souvenirs. It will save you money. Number 7 is a really thrifty thing to do. Sarah and I do this for both road trips when we were camping. We have a rule that we do not buy condiments. For example, maybe we wanted to put mayo on a sandwich or mustard. Instead of buying a thing of ketchup or mustard or mayo for like $4 or $5, what we would do is when we were at the grocery store, we would go to the deli section and there's a ton of packets of condiments. And we would just take a handful of the condiments that we wanted to use, shove it in our pocket, and we would just use the packets. It's a really frugal thing to do. Someone else might be like, you know what, I'm just gonna pay $4 for a ketchup bottle. That's our thing that we do, is we don't buy condiments. We just get the free packets and use those while we're traveling to save a couple dollars. Number 8 is just kind of like a general rule that I try to do. That is just not to be wasteful. For example, bring a big water bottle, keep refilling that instead of buying like a huge pack of bottled water. Another example is to use stuff up completely before you buy another. In Colorado, we had a moment where we didn't know how much propane we had for that little little single burner that Mara had brought to cook food on, and we were at the grocery store and we didn't know how much we have left, but we knew it wasn't out. I think Sarah was like, should we get some more propane for the burner? We almost did, but then we were like, you know what? We're gonna be in town later. Let's just use up the one we have before we buy another one. So we didn't get one, and then we didn't even end up using all the propane in the container that we had. It would have been a total waste of money to buy another one because we didn't end up needing it. Another example of not being wasteful with your money would be to gather wood instead of buying firewood. Obviously we were camping. We almost bought some bundles, but then we didn't because we didn't know if we had room in the trunk. And then once we got to our campsite, we ended up taking a little walk kind of in the woods, and we just like gathered some firewood and we burned that instead of buying a bundle, and that saved us a few dollars as well. And then the last to go along with wasteful thing is I found that making a checklist before I leave so that you have everything packed, you have everything with you, so when you're traveling you don't have to say, oh shoot, I forgot my mascara, so now I gotta go buy a new tube of mascara even though I have one at home. I have found it really helpful. Every time I go somewhere I make a checklist of things to pack so I'm not just like tossing and thinking as I go, and I don't have to buy things that I forgot while I'm traveling. Okay, number 9 is something I totally used to do when I played college softball. We'd go to Florida every spring for spring training, and before I would go on a shopping spree and buy some new swimsuits and some new like vacation clothes just to wear on vacation. And so now I kind of have this rule with myself that I do not buy clothes or anything specifically for a vacation unless I really need it, like sunscreen or something like that. Usually I already have clothes that are appropriate for the vacation. Instead of buying something specifically for a vacation, using it for a week and then not using it hardly ever again, I just don't buy things specifically for vacation anymore. I would buy them if I actually needed them. It's a waste of money, and it's a waste for like the environment because everything that you buy has a carbon footprint of what it took to make it. And number 10 is just a general rule and a general like mindset when you're traveling or going somewhere. For me, I found it hardest when we would be on the road. We were driving and I didn't know where I was, and we didn't know which stores were this and what the price is. So sometimes you have to do like what's convenient in the time when you're traveling. But in general, just try to be frugal with your money. So examples would be choose cheaper options, like get the off-brand food instead of the name brand food. It's cheaper and it probably tastes mostly the same. Be aware when you could save money, like if you're on a road trip, maybe you could look up gas prices and try to find the cheapest gas. I did know in Iowa they have way cheaper gas than southern Minnesota and the other states we would go through after that, so I always tried to fill up gas in Iowa because I knew it was cheaper. To go along with that, keep track of what you're spending. If you opt for the cheaper choice and you're smart about how you spend money and record what you're spending, you're gonna end up saving money, because if you're just like not really paying attention about it and you're like, oh, we're almost out of gas, let's just go to this gas station, it's right there, which sometimes ends up happening anyway. I'm just gonna spend $20 on this shirt. But if you're looking to save some money, just be more conscious about what you're spending your money on. Write it down, keep track. And I really liked looking back on my Venmo and seeing exactly what I spent my money on and how much I spent, and then I was able to like make my list. That's kind of common sense, but I think you would be surprised if you actually kept track and made really mindful decisions with your money, how much of a difference you would spend than if you're just going for whatever is convenient in the moment. So yeah, that was my list. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found this a little bit helpful. I like to be a thrifty person. I kind of enjoy it. I think it's actually kind of like a fun challenge. And obviously it makes it so I can spend my money on other things. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Click the bell. That will make sure that you're notified every time I post a video. By the way, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, which is a really big goal, but you have to have 1,000 subscribers to get monetized and make like 3 cents. But I'd like to do it someday, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. I will see you in my next video. Peace out. Bye.